Paperboy gotta go production.
Speak on subjects that some viewers may find uncomfortable. Some of the topics spoken about in this podcast may not be suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Wheeze. Welcome.
Okay, so we're doing Steven Avery, right?
Yes,
We're going to talk about him, yes. We're not doing him.
Well, I want to do him. Just kidding.
Oh, well, then you can do him.
Oh, so we're not talking about it yet?
No, I'm going to do him first, and then we're going to talk about him.
Okay.
Do you think he's like a two-pump chump?
I think so.
Like,
I feel like he would be. That's probably why he killed Teresa. Just kidding. Anyway. So how are we going to do it? Should I just, go in with, the Teresa Halbach murder and, go in with
if you don't know who Steven Avery is by now in 2022, after everything that's been going on,
let her read the story. What if people don't know?
I can bet you money if I were to go up to Alex and be like, do you know who Steven Avery is? He'd be like, who the fuck is that?
tell him the guy from Making a Murderer. He'll know what you're talking about.
Not everybody watches Netflix.
Does everyone have Netflix? No.
Not everybody watches Netflix.
Okay, anyways, go into it. Explain.
As we're just both ganging up on him.
Right. He's like, okay, I give up. Anyways, so
First you pronounce my name wrong, and then now.
okay.
You never
Clint.
corrected her, okay?
Clint. You let me just go on with Clint this whole time, so that's a you problem. Anyways, so Teresa Halbach disappeared on October 31st, 2005. Her last alleged appointment was meeting with Steven Avery at his home near the grounds of Avery's Auto Salvage to photograph his sister's minivan that he was offering to sell on autotrader.com. Halbach's vehicle was found partially concealed in the salvage yard, and bloodstains recovered from its interior matched Avery's DNA. Investigators later identified charred bone fragments in a burn pit near Avery's home as Halbach's. Avery was arrested and charged with Halbach's murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault and mutilation of a corpse on November 11th, 2005. He already had been charged with a weapons violation and a convicted felon. Avery maintained that his murder charge was a frame-up promulgated to discredit his pending civil case. Manitowoc County claimed to and did cede control of the murder investigation to the neighboring Calumet County. Is that how you say it?
You're good.
Okay. Department because of Avery's suit against Manitowoc County as part of the agreement for Calumet to use resources from Manitowoc County, including personnel. Manitowoc Sheriff deputies participated in repeated searches of Avery's trailer, garage, and property, supervised by Calumet County's officers. A Manitowoc deputy found the key to Halbach's vehicle in Avery's bedroom. His attorney said there was a conflict of interest in their participation and suggested evidence tampering with no proof of same. Avery's attorney also discovered that an evidence box containing a vial of Avery's blood collected in 1996 during his appeals efforts in the Bernstein case, had been unsealed by the Innocence Project, and a punctured hole was visible in the stopper. They speculated that the blood found in Halbach's car could have been drawn from the store vial and planted in the vehicle to incriminate Avery to combat his claim. The prosecution presented testimony by FBI technicians who had the blood tested and recovered from Halbach's car for some fucking really long ass word, acid, EDTA, a preservative used in blood vials but not present in the human body, and found none. Avery's defense team presented expert witness testimony stating that it was not possible to tell if the negative result meant the EDTA was not present or if the test itself was inconclusive. Oh my god, why is this so fucking long?
Anyways,
right.
To short it up, he got arrested for murder.
Uh-huh.
And he just so happened to get arrested after he put a civil defense case against Manitowoc County for falsely imprisoning him several years earlier on a rape that they claimed he did. They found him guilty on it. It turned out that he did not do that, and the man that actually did the rape was already in prison in another part of Wisconsin. So
yes, that was that was the woman who was attacked in Lake Michigan Beach or whatever.
Which he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And so he got arrested for murder, and the whole thing with him is it the fact that he really murder this lady, or is Manitowoc County trying to get back at him because he put a civil defense case against him?
Right. But anyways, as of May 2006, Avery was the only one of the Innocence Project's 174 exonerees to have been charged with a violent crime after release. In March 2006, his nephew, Brendan Dassey, was charged as an accessory after he confessed under interrogation to have helped Avery kill Halbuck and dispose of the body. He later recanted his confession, claiming that it had been coerced, and refused to testify to his involvement at Avery's trial. He testified at his own trial and never mentioned coercion. Dassey was convicted of murder, rape, and mutilation of the corpse in a...
They said Brendan Dassey didn't mention coercion?
No.
In his
own trial, he never mentioned coercion.
Brendan Dassey didn't mention. Homeboy can't even spell coercion. Homeboy can barely spell tennis shoes.
Right.
Okay, poor homeboy is like 2 steps away from being like, I like cheese, Mom. Cheese is good. Cheese tastes good.
Right. Canceled.
that's how he is, man. What they did on that was wrong. It was a wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree. He's a little special, and they definitely, like, for one, he's a minor. Why are they interviewing him without a parent? First of all,
right.
Like, the fuck. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. They were both arrested, and literally nothing has come of it.
Well, Brendan Dassey has gotten found innocent as of recently. He I think it was like 2016 or 2017. Let's see. Or something like that.
2017. Oh, yeah, they're just talking about Avery, but wait, no. In June 2017, the 17th Circuit upheld the magistrate's decision to overturn Dassey's conviction, leaving the state with options of appealing Duffin's ruling to the Supreme Court, dismissing the charges or retrying him. The state petitioned to appellate court to hear the case in bonk, whatever that means. The state's petition was granted, and appellate court reversed the magistrate's ruling, finding Dassey's confession did not violate the Constitution. Dassey's attorney filed a petition to have the Supreme Court hear his case, but the request was denied. Dassey remains in prison. That was as of 2017.
See, I thought he got out because I thought they actually turned his over at some point. I may have misread something somewhere.
Yeah, they tried, but it failed.
Well, see, I thought they had. Now, this is my whole take on this deal. This is my personal thought of what actually happened. Mm-hmm. This has not been proven, but I think this is the most likely case. Is that Brendan was never involved. And he was led to the answers that he gave by the officers, number one. And Brendan's completely innocent. You can tell the kid's slow. You've seen it. You watch the interview, and he's not. At the time I think they did it, he was 16. And you can tell his mind did not function like a 16-year-old did. He's innocent. Yeah. Steven Avery, I don't think killed her, but I think he helped in the disposal of the body. The reason why I don't think he killed her was because there was stuff that came out in the news or news articles that another possible suspect of the situation was Steven Avery's brother and Brendan Dassey's uncle. Or no, not uncle, but Brendan Dassey's dad. And also, it's possible that Brendan Dassey's stepbrother, who I'm not sure if it's from his mom or whatever, but who is older than him, possibly helped Brendan Dassey's dad kill this woman. And I think they did that. Steven Avery was like, oh God, they're going to blame it on me. Steven Avery hid the vehicle. He helped dispose of the body, but I know the dad and the brother did. And if you go back and do some research on on Brendan Dassey's dad, he's not a good guy. And it's very 100% possibly likely he did this. And Steven is just taking the blunt force of the deal because they already had an issue with him anyways. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what happened. I think Brendan Dassey's dad is the one that killed her. Steven, out of desperation, trying not to get blamed and trying not to get sent back to prison again, hid the vehicle. And that's why his DNA was actually in the vehicle. But I don't think he killed her.
Does somebody
Yeah,
have
that
a cat that's meowing, or is it just in my head?
No, I have a cat, and it's
Okay.
her kitten.
Oh, okay. I was all like, I hear little meows, and I can't. Maybe it's
My-
in my head.
My mama cat had 3 kittens the other day, and they are underneath my bed somewhere, and they're little shits. So
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, but I think that that's what happened, and I think that Manitowoc County knew that Steven Avery didn't do it, but they were already mad about the situation of him
Right.
filing for the lawsuit and stuff. So they went on ahead and like, well, we're going to get him. We're going to get him because they tried to get him the last time, even though he was not the guy. Because, I mean, there was a whole bunch of hinky stuff that happened the last time, just like on the eyewitness photo and stuff like that when they did the photo drawing. The guy that drew the photo didn't even interview the lady first. He picked out a picture of Steven Avery. Here, he took Steven Avery's and drew it and then showed her the picture and said, is this the person that raped you?
So, yeah. So what you were saying about how they think it was somebody else, right? So I was reading more articles, and this one came out like last year. And apparently apparently it came out April 12th of last year. A new witness, delivery driver, saw a shirtless Bobby Dassey, Brendan Dassey's brother and Avery's nephew, and an unidentified older male pushing a Toyota RAV4 down Avery Road towards the junkyard in the early morning hours of November 5th, 2005. The delivery driver drove past the two men and delivered newspapers to a mailbox and turned around and began to drive off the property, but Bobby Dassey attempted to step in front of his car to block him from leaving. The court documents say the delivery driver came within 5 feet of Bobby Dassey, and his headlights were on Bobby during this entire time. Then the driver swerved into a shallow ditch to escape. I called out, "Paperboy gotta go," because I was afraid. Paperboy gotta go.
Paperboy gotta go! That's how you know you're scared when you mess up all signs of the English language. Paperboy gotta go! That's some shit they were pulling it, man. Just no bad clown, scary. Bad clown, scary clown. Yeah. Get your point across, though. You know what's gonna happen. Most definitely.
Anyways, I called out, "Paperboy gotta go," because I was afraid for my safety. The delivery driver recalled in a signed affidavit. Bobby Dassey,
Well, I mean,
he looked me in the eye.
and I mean, I don't blame the paperboy for being scared because I know y'all seen the Making a Murderer, okay?
Yeah.
Y'all seen the Avery Land. I mean, you probably live like 3 feet from the Avery Land, Laura. So.
I do not.
But y'all seen it. It's very, very remote. It's a big junkyard, and they aren't like the most normal looking people. Like, it's kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre family, you know.
Right.
You
like
see them, and you're like, this dude.
It's your basic like redneck.
So I don't blame.
It's creepy, right?
Yeah,
so
this
I
is.
understand
Yeah.
Paperboy.
Yeah, I don't blame him for. Yeah.
About Paperboy
I don't blame him.
because that's funny.
Paperboy gotta go.
Does it really say that in the article? Like, Paperboy gotta go?
Yes, it says, and these
I'm sure he was like, Paperboy, gotta go. You know, kind of like that, but the way it's read,
Yeah.
Paperboy, gotta go.
if you read it, it says Paperboy, comma, gotta go. But
Yeah,
it sounds
right.
better.
Paperboy, gotta go. But in my head,
himself as well.
Right.
yeah, in my head though, it's so much funnier just to see the Paperboy like tensed up, real scared, just Paperboy gotta go, and just take off running.
But anyways, her vehicle, the RAV4, was found later that day at the Avery salvage yard, and when the delivery driver,
Paperboy gotta go.
Yeah, Paperboy. When Paperboy,
Oh, son of a bitch!
When Paperboy realized the significance of what he had seen and contacted the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office, and a female
How'd you escape with your life? I just yelled, Paperboy gotta go, and got the fuck out.
Right. And while the female officer told him, "We already know who did it," when he called.
Yeah, already know who did it. Goddamn Steven came out again. Just raping people and eating their body and shit. No, he does it. I see him in my corner. I seen him in my mirror.
Right. But like, I mean, how are you gonna have somebody call it in? Like call like whole different people in.
Yeah, we already know who did it. Just don't call it no more.
I just want to name this episode Paperboy Gotta Go.
Yes, that's what we're naming it. If it isn't named that, then I'd be disappointed.
That's great. I love it.
In the court documents, Avery claims the state suppressed evidence of Sawinski's Paperboy report to the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Office, specifically that he had witnessed Bobby Dassey and another individual in possession of a moving vehicle onto Avery salvage yard after the disappearance. The suppressed evidence was favorable to the defense, the court's documents say, and pivotal to the outcome of Avery's trial. It would have destroyed entirely the credibility of Bobby as the state's primary witness, established that Bobby was directly involved in the murder, and established that Bobby planted evidence to frame his uncle. Bobby Dassey testified at Avery's trial on that he saw Halbuck pull up to the driveway at 2:30 p.m., get out of her vehicle, take pictures of his mother's maroon van, and walk toward the door of Avery's trailer, then never saw her again, according to the documents. Sawinski's claims, the lawyer rigorously investigated, I can't fucking talk, Sawinski's claims over a period of more than 3 months after Sawinski contacted her law firm on December 26, 2020, a process that involved multiple background checks and interviews, along with review prior evidence in the case, according to the documents filed with the court's appeal on Thursday. But yeah, it never gave an update after that, so I don't know how that went.
See, and the whole thing with Bobby Dassey is that they done a background deal on this kid, right? And like, he shows a lot of signs of being a psychopath, number one, and apparently he has like mental issues, and he's freaking crazy.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure he did it.
You better watch out. He's going to come after you.
Well, I mean, I live in Texas, so I'm not scared.
You better be.
Gotta go.
Right? Paperboy gotta go.
Paperboy gotta go. But yeah, so let's Google some theories.
Some theories? Oh, theories. No.
Let's see what other people are saying.
There's one theory out there that says Manitowoc County killed her just so they could get Steven Avery, which I wouldn't put it down, put it past them, because, sorry, Lori, not to talk shit about your state, but Manitowoc County seems like it done some shady shit in the past.
It has. Definitely.
You know, like, not too chill. It's as the quote lives here, things down there are not very party rock. Okay. Oh, and in the article it says that they found her bones in the fire pit, but that was proven false. Oh, the bones that were in the fire pit, though, it came back that they were actually animal bones, that they weren't human bones.
No, it came back that they were human bones, and they gave them back to the family, and they were supposed to be like tested, but they couldn't be tested because the police gave them back to the family, and once they're given back to the family, like after the investigation, you can't take them back.
Oh, I thought it said in the Netflix series that it came back that they were animal bones.
No, they thought they were, but no, like there was like some whole thing of it. I've literally just read it on like the Wikipedia thing or whatever.
Okay. But there are a billion theories. Well, the craziest theory, besides the one that Manitowoc County did it themselves, was she was attacked by Bigfoot, and that the family worships Bigfoot and they do sacrifices to the creature. So
I haven't ever heard that one.
I've seen that one of course, that's on the same website though that went into this long spiel, and at the very end of it, somehow Obama became Hitler's grandson.
Well, this theory is somebody over here has a theory of how they think Bobby and Scott did it.
Scott is the dad, isn't it?
I believe Scott Tadek. I'm assuming he's somebody's dad.
I think that's Brendan and Bobby's stepdad. I think, because I remember the name, but I'm not like I get. There's so many conflicting things in this case, and
you get everybody mixed up. So
yeah,
but yeah. So somebody's saying that.
I just remember Brendan very well because he reminds me of. Have you ever seen the what's eating
Gilbert Grape?
Yeah. You know his brother, Leo DiCaprio. I killed him, Gilbert. I killed him. Yeah. So
Are you gonna get us canceled from this?
Probably. But that's who Brendan reminds me of, though, because he's, he's not
he's special ed. Okay, he's sped.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely sped. Definitely.
Police tampering and clumsy efforts by the real killer caused Steven to be charged. So they think that Bobby Dassey and Scott Tadek, whatever his name is, are the ones. But they say that you could easily substitute any of the capable men living on the Avery property to fit their theory of the crime. But after entering her car to leave the Avery property, Teresa, not Theresa, is stopped by Bobby and Scott as she tries to exit the scrapyard. She is forced at gunpoint to drive to a secluded area. There she is raped and shot in the head. Her body is loaded into the back of the RAV4 and is transported to the corner of the scrapyard. The vehicle is hidden there. Bobby and Scott retrieve a burned barrel and place the body within. They would not have to mutilate the corpse to fit her small frame inside the large barrel. They transport the barrel to the quarry. The body is burned there and the flames remain out of sight.
Do you have any theories where they think that Steven Avery actually did it? Like just him?
There will be probably. Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to say that Steven doesn't look guilty. I'm not going to say that he doesn't. I'm saying that I don't think he is, but at the same time, there's some points to where
you can tell his reactions in court that he's like he's not guilty for that. Like you can tell by his reactions, he's not the one that did this.
Just as surprised as everybody else. That's what I'm saying is I'm not saying. I mean, he could be guilty in putting on a very good show, but I doubt it.
Right. They say that they burned the body there so that the flames remain out of sight from the passersby. The next day, Bobby and or Scott retrieve the barrel and dump the ashes in the Avery burn pit. At this point, they probably are in possession of the RAV4 key by...
What?
Huh?
Oh, I was talking like Hank. Oh, damn it, Bobby, I tell you what.
They in possession of the RAV4 key by reflexively removing it from the ignition after dumping the RAV4. At this point, neither Bobby nor Scott are actively trying to frame Steven. They are simply covering the crime and disposing of evidence. After Teresa has been reporting missing, Officer Colburn finds the RAV4 on the Avery lot during an illegal search. He uses the opportunity to retrieve Steven Avery's blood from evidence and plant it on the scene. He then suggests to search party leaders that this area is of interest and instruction not to touch anything until they find the car. Once it has been located by the search party, the area's a crime scene, officers inform many members of the Avery and Dassey families that Steven is their number one suspect. Bobby and Scott use this opportunity to further frame Steven by placing the key in his trailer several days into the investigation. They have full knowledge of DNA evidence since it exonerated Steven once before, so they are careful to clean the key thoroughly. During the investigation, officers find lots of junk in Steven's trailer, including evidence of his business interaction with Teresa. They also find restraints, believing Steven to be a deviant. They begin to form a narrative based on rumors of Steven's past and the random items collected in his trailer. This narrative includes restraining and raping Teresa. Note that no physical evidence links Teresa to deviant sexual acts, only imagination of the investigators. Later in the investigation, human remains are found in the fire pit and a cause of death is determined. Also, RAV4 keys are found in Steven's trailer. At this point, investigators are convinced Steven is guilty, so they attempt to discredit Steven's only alibi witness, Brendan Dassey. Brendan is a simpleton, but investigators misconstrue.
We're going to the house tomorrow. I need some cornbread.
Brendan is a simpleton, but investigators misconstrue his demeanor as consciousness of guilt.
What love is. What?
They coerce a statement from him that fits the narrative. Investigators have imagined a brutal sexual assault followed by execution. They immediately look for physical evidence that should be abundant from such a crime. Investigators find a bullet fragment in the garage of Steven Avery. This fragment lacks Teresa's DNA, but poor handling practices in the forensics lab return positive results for Teresa's DNA. The technique bends the rules to allow an analyst to stick, believing that the other evidence against Steven is damning enough and the DNA is just another drop in the bucket. From here, the state has sufficient physical evidence to charge Steven. Constant press conferences from the special prosecutor ensure the public has clear narrative to the horrific crime, even if that narrative is only supported by the imagination of investigators and not the physical evidence. The juror of the trial are familiar with his narrative and attempt to fit the state's evidence to the story where they were presented during the state does not blah, 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 blah. Anyways, basically this person just said everything else we already know, but they think that Bobby and what's his name did it.
100%. I think that they did. And the word that you were trying to pronounce there was analytics or analytic and not analytic.
Yeah. But,
we got what she meant, though. We got
it was just funny because I heard analytic. I was like, oh, wait, what?
Don't make fun of my speech impediment. You're rude.
You don't have a speech impediment. That's just you messed up on reading. It's fine. Everybody does it. We're talking about a simpleton on this one. It's okay.
But yeah, let's see if we can find ones where here's why Steven Avery is 100%.
Away with my magic shoes. Mama said anyway.
Avery is guilty.
Avery is guilty. Well, yeah. I mean, and like I said, I'm not saying that he's not.
Okay, it says for the Avery's guilty, folks. Sell me on why. For me, it's the cut on his. Someone says it's the cut on his hand that is never explained, and the coincidence that he just wanted to have the bonfire, which he initially denied.
The cut on his hand. He works in a freaking junkyard, junking cars all day. He probably has cuts everywhere. He probably has a cut on his nutsack at the moment in time the case was happening. I mean. It's what happens when you junk cars and you deal with cars and you're a mechanic. You get cuts on your hands all the time. So that one went out the window. Sorry.
Next.
Okay, so this person who asked the question, he was like, just finished this season 2 of the show, right? Everybody watched the show. And his main questions were the RAV4 being spotted off the property and reported at the gas station, the bones in the quarry, the coroner threatened and kept away instead of somebody decides on the quarry bones aren't human. No blood/hair in the trailer. Nothing's found on first discovery and it shows up later. And investigators not believing Brendan when he says she was shot outside. So this is what, like, he wants to know, what are people's opinions on these, right? And so somebody responded to the first one, the RAV4 being spotted off the property and reported at the gas station. And they're all like, the person who reported this was Kevin, whatever his name is. He claims he reported it to an...
We know Kevin is a piece of shit, and we don't even believe him.
claims he reported to an uninformed... A uniform, not uninformed. Uniform.
Uninformed.
Uninformed. Well, all the officers there are very uninformed. Okay, but a uniformed officer at the Cenex gas station on 11-4. He later recognized the officer as Colburn. The first thing to note is that Colburn wasn't working that day, and I can't... Oh, is it? Anyways, and I can't come up with an explanation of why he would be trespassing around in his uniform on his day off. However, there is a call from November 4th by an officer named Ryan asking about the poster at the Cenex. So how did this Kevin guy recognize Colburn? In 2006, Colburn arrested the Kevin guy for a DUI. So the probable explanation is that the Kevin guy either intentionally or unintentionally confused them. Finally, the most importantly, there was a few reports of seeing Teresa's car at the turnaround. It was investigated and found not to be her car. The bones in the quarry. The bones have never been confirmed to be Teresa's, but if they were, how is that proof of planting? Couldn't it also be explained by Avery trying to dispose of the bones there? 3, the coroner threatened and kept away instead of somebody decides the quarry bones aren't human. The decision to exclude the coroner was made by the Manitowoc Corporation Council, not the Manitowoc Sheriff Department. When the coroner stated she was going to the scene, they threatened her with arrest, as they should for someone who states their intention to enter a crime scene that they've been explicitly forbidden to visit. So the coroner then called the Calumet medical examiner, someone she knew was familiar with, to handle the duties. I believe he is the one who judged the quarry bones to not be human or to be indeterminate origin. Number 4, no blood/hair in the trailer. I'll just say up front,
comes in because the bones are indeterminate origin. Therefore, they got the goddamn Bigfoot bones in there, and they fed her to the Bigfoot.
No blood/hair in the trailer. I'll just say up front that nobody knows why they can make educated guesses during a call between Avery and Jody a day or two after Teresa disappeared. Avery makes references to cleaning the carpets, which can be sufficient to destroy DNA evidence, particularly if bleach is used. It's also important to note that when searching for DNA evidence, the investigators don't sample every square inch of surface. They focus on the areas most likely to have evidence and work from there. So it is possible that there is DNA evidence, but the police simply miss it. Finally, it's possible that she wasn't stabbed in the trailer. Brendan's telling of what happened varies widely in each iteration, so it's possible he fabricated her being stabbed. There's still evidence, however, of her being shot in the garage. 5, nothing.
Brendan fabricated the whole thing because nothing happened, but they wanted him to tell it, but they wanted him to tell something.
Right. 5, nothing is found on the first discovery, and it shows up later. Around 50 pieces of evidence were collected during the first open-ended search of Avery's trailer, and additional evidence was noted for pickup the next day. 6, investigators not believing Brendan when he says she was shot outside. I can only speculate, but I believe the cleaning stain in the garage was found early on, and they suspected correctly. I think that's where she was shot.
I mean, okay.
So they're just saying that, like,
explain anything much though. They just kind of speculated a whole bunch. That's the thing about all these theories. The theories that come from with the theories that are Avery did it theories is they don't really like explain valuable information to show that he did it. They just kind of speculate on stuff a whole bunch.
Right.
And because the reason why you can only speculate on it is because there's no proof showing that he did do it. There's no hard evidence showing that he did do it. The only thing that they know is that she was there at some point, and then all of a sudden her car was there again.
Right.
And that's why I said Brendan, I'm almost 100% positive Brendan was not involved. especially because, like, when you watch the interviews of him getting interviewed by the cops and stuff, you can tell the cops are leading him a lot because they ask him questions like, "So what did you do to her? What did y'all do to her head?" He's like, "Well, we cut her hair," and he's like, "No, what did you? No, you need to tell me what you did to her head." And then eventually he's like, "Okay, she got shot. Who shot her?" You know, eventually
Right.
they pop up because he's like, you know, he's like Forrest Gump level of intelligence right now. So,
And then people are bringing up, so, why wasn't any of Teresa's DNA on the key that was found in Avery's room? And then, so everybody's saying that it was a secondary key and she didn't use it that often. So that's why none of her DNA was found on.
yeah, well, I mean, I think because they left the car, or he had a spare key from the car because he was going to, or because, or no, wait, no, it never explains the second key though. It just explains the key being in his room, but it never explains which key it is. It just shows the key in there, but where they even found the key was kind of janky because it's like the cop walked in there for like 2 minutes and was like, "I found it." Nah, homeboy, you had it in your pocket and laid it on the ground.
So somebody else said, here's my sales pitch first. His blood is in the victim's car and there's no reasonable explanation for it. A $250,000 defense team, a documentary crew that has covered this case for the last 13 years, all of the armchair online detectives, and the alleged best wrongful conviction attorney on the planet have poured over the details of this case, and the best explanation to date is that someone with impeccable timing broke into his trailer and stole fresh blood and planted it before it coagulated. That's kind of absurd.
That
Also,
is,
Right.
I do think that's a little far stretched. I don't think the cops planted the blood there. I think Avery was in the rapport, as I've stated before, because all this shit went down, and his first thought was, "Oh shit, they're gonna blame me again." And so, because Steven himself is not super smart either.
This whole family's not super smart. So, like,
The dad seems okay, and the mom seems okay. They seem normal.
he needed an alibi badly. He knew he was a suspect almost immediately. Funny thing is, as far as he knew, he had a pretty good alibi. He spent most of the evening tending a bonfire with his nephew who could corroborate his story. Yet he never mentions that alibi to investigators. Brendan doesn't mention the fire either. The major portion of their evening just lifts from both of their memories. Why is that?
Well, okay, first off, everybody needs to stop bringing Brendan into it because Brendan can't trust anything Brendan says, okay?
And then if you want to know if Steven Avery is guilty, then look at the unplantable evidence against him. He lied about not having a fire for 2 weeks. He admitted his alibi was Brendan. He admitted there was a cleanup that evening on his first afternoon off. He used hidden ID to call the victim twice. It is the first time he doesn't get a receipt from her. He was seen burning what smelled like plastic in a burn barrel containing Teresa's burnt out electronics. So he lied about not burning anything. And also, it's the things like this which are unplantable, which planting guessers have no rational explanation for. Plus, you can know he prearranged a story with Brendan because both Brendan and Steven display selective memory. They can talk about everything else in great detail except for the garage cleanups and fires. Breaking up those two topics and they both stall. Or bring up those two topics and they both stall. Brendan breaks down. They are not doing that of each other by
This is why they both stop us because nothing happened there. This is why Brendan stops on the subject because nothing happened, and he is mentally deficient and his brain cannot fabricate something to do it unless you lead him in a direction. That's why they both stop. But he's like, I don't know. It's like if you ask him a too hard math question, he's gonna poop himself. Come on now. And then Steven, of course, I mean, I don't know why he lied about not having a fire. I think the reason why a lot of the lying, quote unquote lying that he did was mainly because sons of bitches have screwed me over once. I ain't telling them shit.
And then somebody says that they're 70-30 guilty to not guilty. Most of the not guilty is just because there's no way in my mind that it happened the way the state says it happens. The biggest thing for me is that in all the years that have passed, with all the great lawyers, the film crew, and the documentary, and all the extra publicity, no one has ever found a single shred of actual evidence that points away from Avery. There are a million theories on what happened, but no actual tangible evidence that point towards someone else. Maybe that would have been different if the police weren't laser focused on Avery and no one else during the investigation. I don't know, but at this point we can only speculate on what we know for sure. The framing theory seems to me a bit too unrealistic, and it would take a lot of cover up to make everything happy.
Well,
Happy? Happy.
Happy. Yes, let's make everything happy.
I was about to say, they done did it once, though. They done framed him once. And he did like 18 years in prison because of it. Like, they done said, this dude did this to this lady. We may not have all the evidence, but by God, he's going to prison. And he did. So, the Manitowoc County framing him is not that crazy. Now, the way that they say it went about is kind of iffy, you know?
Right.
But yeah, they done framed him once. And then they even had the other guy locked up in prison on another charge and still refused to do anything about it. Boy, all I've learned from this case is do not piss off or make enemies with police officers because they can ruin your life if they want to.
Amen.
Right.
It's true. And what's real bad is I think Steven Avery's uncle was like a police officer, and he was pretty much like, I couldn't do nothing. They was just pretty much like, well, he was fucked. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I mean, so is there anything else?
I mean, I don't really have anything else left to say about it. I mean,
The Wheeze gotta go.
the Wheeze has got to go.
We've got to go. Bye.
Bye.